Welcome to the second episode of the Best Branding Podcast for Women, in which I, Kirande, explore how we women can amplify our voices online, but also in the real world with our companies. In this episode, I'm interviewing Georgia Brooks, the co-founder and CEO of The Nine, which is a female-focused community with a clubhouse here in Brussels. In the interview, it becomes more clear what The Nine is because Georgia has excellently carved out the core values of The Nine, and note how closely related they are to her own personal values. And by being so consistent and by being clear and daring to choose, I think she's building a very strong brand, gaining more and more success. I hope you find this talk inspirational, and if you need a bit of help with finding your purpose or your values, you can go to my website, www.kirande.com, or bestbrandingpodcastforwomen.com, and there in my library you will find different tools and the complete interview, because Georgia can tell a lot of stories which all further build the strong image of The Nine. Without further ado, here's the talk.
I got to know The Nine via word of mouth. I got to know you a bit more personally via LinkedIn.
And I love that you're not put off by that, because sometimes I worry that people aren't ready necessarily here for my more vocal point of feminism here in Belgium.
Sure, but you can't change who you are.
True.
And if you're then afraid of losing potential clients or members for the club, they will find out who you are anyhow, so then they will leave.
We've never had that situation, fortunately. Quite the opposite.
Actually, because of you, I've become
I know.
online feminist.
I love this so much. Kira, when you posted how you had unfollowed a number of male voices and in return had followed women, I could not have been more proud. It was like, not that I often compare myself to Jesus, it was almost like I have a disciple. And you may think, okay, this is just me doing this just on LinkedIn, but actually the ramifications are huge because it kickstarted such an interesting conversation online, but also offline. And I do the same with The Nine. People are always very surprised when I tell them, oh, actually, all the art is by women, or no, actually, we work with the only female master of wine, or actually, no, our olive oil comes from female producers. They're like, oh, interesting. I'm like, yeah, because I'm putting my money where my mouth is. How is that so surprising to you? But it is because so few people do it. So kudos to you.
Anyhow, this is completely not the topic of the podcast. Georgia Brooks, but let's just start at the very beginning. I read in your post about, I think, the 4th anniversary, how in the beginning you received a lot of no's. How did you manage to push through and keep your focus and not be discouraged?
So it was the 4th anniversary of signing the contract. Like any small business owner, you are relying on funds. This takes a lot of uncomfortable and sometimes demoralizing meetings with typically older white men telling me that they don't believe it's going to work. Verbatim, women don't want this. Verbatim, what is a club for women? It's unclear. Oh, it's just a co-working space. No, it's not a co-working space. So I had a lot of questions just on the concept. So the concept was not clear. People didn't necessarily believe in me because who am I? I have no track record here. Why didn't I curl up and just go to sleep? Because I am pig-headedly persistent. I really saw how the club would be. And I think today is a great example. Kira and I are here on a very early Monday morning, and within half an hour of opening, I think we have maybe 20 people running around doing different activities, because it is a space where you come to work, where you come to have a meeting, or you come because you're planning something, so you all just want to have some inspiration. And I saw that. I really did see it as a bustling hub, as a home for people. Yes, as a co-working space, yes, as a bar and restaurant, but also so much more. So yeah, I've just never been good at taking no for an answer. And I was like, another no, come on, let's go somewhere else. I found this, what about these people? Let me reach out to them. The no's came back afterwards, after we launched, and actually said, congratulations. And that it's great to see that the project does have legs. And I was like, yes, and they're fine legs too.
What's one piece of advice you wish you had received when you started this?
Oh gosh, the question is would I have
Which one?
listened? No, would I have listened? One advice that I did listen to, and which I had portioned from my business coach, PJ really helped me to be single-minded. You know, you're doing this for a certain group of people. These are the values. You can't do everything to everyone. I've seen businesses in Belgium not fail, but perhaps lose their branding footing is when they do try and do everything for everyone. And I think if you have a niche, if you're very clear on who your audience or your ideal client, depending on your business, or your target profile, then it should be easy. It should be easy. The advice given, don't do everything for everyone.
But that takes courage. It takes courage to do that, to say no, and very hard to define who you would like to serve. And for that, you definitely need a coach or an expert. Because to do that by yourself, I know that for myself, it's super hard.
No, I think individual, certainly when you're a sole founder, it's almost impossible. And I'm really grateful to have a really amazing husband and low-key co-founder. I have an amazing advisory board and a team here. So I have so many opportunities to bounce things with people, and we also have the members. And you know what I love, sometimes more times than others, everyone's so open with their feedback, and we're very reactive. If someone says to me, hey, I'd love to do an event on, or I'd love to come to an event on X, I'm like, okay, let's look into it. And sometimes we can be very quick within a couple of months, other times it may take longer to find the speed, but at least we can do it. Well, I'd love to hear from you as the expert. What makes an effective brand?
Unsurprisingly, good question. You need to be memorable. Of course, otherwise you say nothing. That's not good. 2, you need to be seen as a person, or it needs to be a personal relationship. Trying into the personal relationship sphere, and that's why I really do encourage, do the behind the scenes, show the work that has gone into it with the faces. Have a face, even though you can have your logo like here, there's no face in it, but when we think of it, we do see faces. We see the members and the team and you, of course, so get personal. And in order to do that is fill it with the stories. Stories stick. Stories are the basis of our societies. That's how they get created. That you can do beautifully via social media. In order to do that correctly and not confuse people, it needs to stick to the values. You are your brand. Is that true for you?
I don't think you could have had the 9 values without me. I don't believe that it's only me and my values that really sets the tone. And I worked with a business coach to really define those 3 words: authentic, curious, and uplifting, because that's how I wanted people to feel. Those are the values of the 9. They have been now for 5 years, because we worked on this before we had the physical space. And it really encapsulates a lot of who I am as a person and who I want to be. So there is also an aspirational element.
So what are then your values?
Years of convent school
Oh, really?
has pushed me to consider my own kind of like mantra to live by. And I chose, I must have been really 12 at the time, courage, kindness and strength. Having the courage to be outspoken in what you believe in, to do what you think is the right thing, being kind to others, because that is the foundation for everything. And then having the strength to continue when you're constantly facing no's, or that's not possible.
I think the club is a success, isn't it? How do you feel about it?
I feel very proud that it has been popular, and I think it has been a place of refuge, inspiration, motivation and change, because I have seen, I've seen the club, I really mean the community, it's the people more than the physical space. I have seen the community come together to change people's lives, whether that's introducing someone to their partner, whether that's introducing someone to their new job, or supporting those who are running for political office, it has fostered a lot of this, and I guess that is the true sign of success when it's making positive differences.
What worked unexpectedly very well?
I really think has been social media. So in terms of communicating who we are and what we do, changing our communication strategy this year has been a game changer. So also showing behind the scenes, being able to shine light on the team and everything they're doing to prepare. People may think that, oh, it's just a workshop on X. Actually, no, we have to set up the space, we have to check the tech, we have to make sure the presentation is relevant and interesting. This all takes time. Likewise, when we launch a new food menu or a new bar menu, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I guess people didn't realise that before. So showing that more and being very upfront sometimes on the challenges we face have also been game changers.
Yeah. That falls in line with my philosophy of personal branding. You're making the club and the people behind it more personal. You see what's going in there. And then a lot of people only see the outside.
And if you're not following already the 9 Bar on social media, I would highly recommend it, because the communications team with the bar team have done such a good job in playing a little bit around these misconceptions, also having fun with how they create the recipes or how they interact with members. Because it's true, I think a lot of people come to the 9 because what they see on the outside, and then they stay for not only the other members, but also for the 90. Michaela, our bar and kitchen manager, she does know people's preferences in terms of drinks. That's a great skill. How nice is it to go somewhere and say, I have my usual. Or like, X and X is here. It's time for a dirty martini. We just know these things because we know people. And that makes the difference.
So you changed the communication strategies. That's particularly on Instagram.
Instagram and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is much more focusing on business, politics, also what's happening in the world. So certain regulations are coming through when reports are issued, because we do want people to pay attention more globally.
Imagine I have a magic wand and I can do billboards all across Brussels or Europe. Which message does it need to display?
For the 9?
Yeah, it could also be about the Georgia Brooks brand, whatever.
There are some people that do want to be famous. I'm not one. So I really do want people to understand and know that the 9 is your home from home, that we are a value-led community, and that we live by those values. So authentic, curious, uplifting. I'm sure you could write a wonderful piece of script for those, and show that this is, maybe you come for the house and you stay for the people.
Yes.
And the cocktails.
The cocktails are very good, and the teas are also good. I like my tea.
Also designed for women. I mean, a lot of people know this. Again, we work with a female tea producer. She actually devised a whole recipe, the 9 tea, using ingredients that work with our hormones and not against us. This takes attention to detail. Really, nothing is by accident.
What's the big dream
Of the 9?
Yeah, or Georgia.
Of Georgia. The big dream for Georgia is finding balance. When you are so multi-passionate, it can be hard, because you want to give a lot of energy, you want to do a lot of things. And again, I do want to be remembered as someone who did something. But yes, it takes energy. So I need to pick my battles, or pick my energy sources, and find a rhythm that better works for me.
I don't think there's ever balance. Nature is always in motion.
So true.
I also always thought, I want balance. When they start this yoga session or the mantra of the day, or I always said balance. And then I realized, listen, there's no balance. Nothing in life is in balance. Nothing that lives has balance. Nature does not have balance.
I think we live by a spiral balance.
But that is good. That is
The aspiration get us there.
Yeah.
It's the journey, not the destination.
So. Thank you so much, Georgia, for your time. Let's check if we got the first part of the podcast.
Otherwise, we'll do it all over again.
Again.
Thanks to you, Kira, and I'm delighted that you are really shining a spotlight on being our voices, both online and in the podcast. And really, I know you have received some criticisms, but listen, you do you, and keep amplifying those women, people that you support, because so many people say one thing and do the other, and you are living evidence. And I'm so proud and just so in awe that you've done it. So thanks to you.
High five. See ya. Great. Oh, you're such a good speaker.
Right, zero filter.
And that was the interview with Georgia Brooks. If you're still watching, then definitely hit the subscribe and like button. It will be much appreciated. And as mentioned, in my library on bestbrandingpodcastforwomen.com, you will find the complete interview and different tools to help you find your purpose and your values so you can communicate it more clearly and build a strong company or a personal name. I wish you a lovely rest of the day. Ciao!